artist that's doing all the beautiful woodwork at Torrey Trails, and we're going to ask him a few questions. Randell, how did you get started with doing all this cool woodwork?
Grew up doing it. My dad grew up doing it too. A bunch of carpentry stuff, framing, a lot of stuff for agricultural too, barns, cow pens, that kind of stuff growing up. So ever since I was old enough to walk around and carry a hammer, I've been doing woodworking. So I've gotten more into the finishing and the more, decorative stuff in the past probably three years or so.
That's in your blood.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And a lot of the people watching this are wondering, wow, this is cool. How do I get started? What would you recommend? What would you tell them?
To get started doing woodworking?
Yeah.
Start off doing smaller projects around your house, smaller pieces or, whatever. If you want to remodel something, just kind of try to do it yourself and just get started. Smaller projects obviously are better, so.
What sort of equipment is a must? Like if I wanted to start doing something, what sort of equipment would I absolutely have to own? You got all this fancy equipment here.
There's a lot. Table
saw, and what's that saw over there?
That's a chop saw, miter saw.
And this
nail gun.
Nail gun.
Down there on the ground.
So the table saw seems
depends on the project, on what you're doing, what you need, but definitely even just the basic tools, you can really do a lot of stuff with just a basic skill saw and sawzall, different jigsaws, all the different types of saws you really do need to start cutting stuff. Obviously, chop saws are good for getting angles precise, and table saw is good for ripping stuff down. So I use to cut these down into smaller pieces to make legs for this table.
Right. And what's the easiest type of wood or an easy wood to start working with?
Basically, a type of pine. Basically, a yellow pine or a white pine from the local hardware store. That's probably the cheaper ones to start with, and it's already pre-milled down, so it's already smooth for you. So if you get rough cut stuff and you don't want it rough, you have to sand it down or you have to run it through a planer, and those can be expensive. So I would just say start off with something simple, go into the hardware store and just getting stuff that's already pre-cut and pre-milled down. So that way it's already smooth for you.
Now, before you start chopping stuff, you obviously need to have a plan in your mind. Do you write it down? Do you draw it?
I do a little bit of both. If it's something I know I've done before, I'll just start cutting. But if I don't know, then yeah, I'll have to picture it in my head and start pulling measurements and writing, taking notes down on the way I'm building it and what I need to do. You always want to measure twice in 5 minutes. If you cut it too short and you wasted a piece of wood, then you got to start over.
I got you.
I've definitely done that before. So
well, you've done
cut once.
You've done incredible work for us here, and I appreciate you doing it. Yeah. And thanks for talking to us.
Yeah,
appreciate it, man. All right,
Thank you.
Thank you.